Well, Coach,
Hi.
we'll go ahead and get started. First question, Mark Berman.
Hey, Steven, how you doing?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
Okay. Um, I don't know if you were aware of it, but last night or after the game yesterday, Christian talked about being disappointed with the ball movement and wanted to be more involved in the offense going down the stretch. What are your thoughts about that sort of stuff?
Well, part of it is his competitiveness and wanting to win and all of that. So I take that into account. He was at times in the corner, just kind of how things worked out because we were going at certain defenders and we were scoring. And yeah, I kind of get his frustration a little bit, but just because of the competitive part. Um, I wish we would have played better defense. Like I wish there were more um what's the word? I guess I wish we were a little bit more disappointed with the defense than the offense, but I get it. Like we're on a losing streak and there's frustration and we're all frustrated. So I talked to him about it. We've gotten past it and we're on to Toronto. So
You have your
NBA.
starter. You have your starters for tonight.
Yeah, John, Sterling, House, Tate, Wood.
John Fagan.
And my question was kind of in the same area. It was one of your better shooting games, one of your better offensive games in quite some time. Were there things that you can build on in that? And how did you feel overall about the execution offensively?
I thought it was good. I mean, we got some good shots. We fought back. We tied the game. We went up, I think. And, yeah, the defense really just put us in a bind. They were just driving the ball and getting the ball into the paint, and then kicking the shooters, and that hurt more, I think, than the offensive part. I think we're hopefully starting to get some rhythm, especially with John, Vic, and Seawood together, and it's still a work in progress, and they haven't been on the floor together very long, and all of those things. But yeah, I think it was pretty good. It could have been better. I always, like kind of alluded to after the game, I'm always looking at things that we can do better and ways that we can improve. And there were a couple plays that I think could have been better, but overall, that group hopefully is starting to mesh a little bit and getting some chemistry.
Thank you.
Kelly Ika.
Hey, Coach. Speaking of chemistry, have you found it easier to build that chemistry because guys are now back as opposed to maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago when everyone was still injured?
Yeah, I mean, it's easier when guys are on the floor. It's easier when the minutes. I mean, we had the same starting lineup 2 nights in a row, so that's a good thing for us. And the only thing that can happen from that is guys being able to play better together on both ends of the floor. So, yeah, I like the chemistry. The chemistry of the group has been good as far as, believing, listening, still having attention to what I'm trying to do and all of those things. But the chemistry is really the most important chemistry is the chemistry on the floor, playing well together. And that's a work in progress, but we're making the right steps as far as at least having those guys on the floor together.
Cody
you.
Day.
Hey, Coach, after yesterday's game, you mentioned that you needed to be better on your part. After watching film on yesterday, is there one particular part of the game that you felt you could have done better? And how frustrating is it knowing that at the end of the day, you are not one of the 12 guys suiting up going out there on the floor?
Well, it's a good thing that I'm not one of the 12 guys going out on the floor because that would not be good for anybody. But post-game frustration is a thing, and I was frustrated after the last game. And yeah, of course, there's always things. Like I look at every single game, whether we're 10 and 11, or what were we, 11 and 10, and this 7 out of 8, And after every game, I'm like, oh, there's a few things I could have done better, or oh, I wish I would have called this play, or I wish I would have called a timeout at this time, or whatever. And then, we go through this losing streak, and last game was definitely a hard, emotional game. And yeah, there were things that I wish I had done better, and that's every single game. And I read a book by Bill Belichick, and he was kind of echoing the same things. Like, there's no perfect game for a coach, and we're all perfectionists when it comes down to it, and we're all just like trying to do our best. And there's always some level of, whether it's disappointment or regret or whatever after a game, whether you're winning championships or on a big time losing streak. That's just kind of what it is. But the thing that has been really cool over the last over the last 24 hours is I've heard from Doc Rivers telling me about his 18-game losing streak one year and then winning the championship the following year. I heard from Don Nelson, who said he had those moments and those times and those long losing streaks that he went through, and he's the winningest coach in NBA history. I had calls from Steve Kerr, Luke Walton, like all of these guys, not to mention all of these assistant coaches and mentors of mine, and Doug Collins I don't even really know Doug Collins that well, but like he started his career off 3-13 and fought through, and he's Doug Collins, like one of the best coaches in the history of the NBA. So to have the NBA community kind of rally behind, I guess, whether it was my press conference post game or just the fact that we're kind of going through all of this turmoil and stuff, is really makes me proud to be a part of the NBA. And I'm just so gratified. It's so gratifying to have those kind of people in my life to help me through and lift me up.
Ali Kambajani.
Hey, Steven, when John Wall spoke post-game yesterday on the last play of the game, he mentioned you guys were hoping to get Victor involved and run Riper. He gave some great insight, but my question is more so about your thought process in those moments. Just like yesterday when you're drawing up a play during a close game, what do you like to focus on or emphasize more? And are there some factors you weigh heavily more than others in those situations?
Yeah, so first and foremost is getting the ball in, right? So you making sure that there's a trustworthy person who's taking the ball out, and that was Jae'Sean Tate at that point, and him knowing that we had a timeout. Second part is making sure that we get a shot. So we got the ball in. I wanted to get to a indecision type action where the defense had to make a decision, and we'd get a downhill drive, because that action had been working, especially in the fourth quarter, and John had been driving the ball. So there were 5 seconds on the clock, 4.8, I think, on the clock, and it just didn't, they kind of overloaded, and there wasn't the room that John should have had. So he took the shot, but we got a shot. And so part one, get the ball in, check. Part two, make sure we get a shot, check. Part three, which is make sure we're executing in a way that we can actually score, not so great. And that's one of those things that could have been better.
Adam Spollen.
For that little time on the clock, just how many options do you actually have on a play like that?
How many what?
How many options do you have for a play like that? Like how big is your playbook on something like that?
Yeah, I have a bunch of different stuff. I had a few different ideas that I was going to. And the second option on that is, if John weren't able to get the ball, then Christian would have flashed to the ball, and he would have been like one-on-one with some sort of like open side action to go and try to get to the rim. So I have a bunch of different stuff that I could go to at that time. I felt like John was rolling as far as getting downhill, and the kind of defense made it harder for him to get to the rim. So, but as far as the playbook, like that's something I work on, if not every day, every other day, definitely every game day. As far as like what are the 1, 2, 3 things that I'm gonna look at late game.
Simone Ali.
Hey, Steven, before all the injuries, you guys were actually pretty good defensively. Now that you're starting to get your guys back, where are some areas you feel like you can improve on that on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to kind of be on the same page. I think early we had a little bit more practice time. We had training camp. We were kind of coming off of training camp, and we had more continuity with the group. So we were good defensively because we could be kind of versatile and with Christian in the game. And that's one of the things that we will continue to do tonight and moving forward, being more versatile as far as switching with him or blitzing with him or playing back with him. And then the small ball group was doing a good job of turning over, forcing turnovers and that kind of thing. And we're still very good at forcing turnovers, but I really just kind of want an overall continuity of the group. And I know I keep using that word, but that's like, those are the 2 words, the continuity and the chemistry that comes along with guys playing on the floor together for an extended period of time. And specifically to answer your question, the pick and roll defense where we're really, really tight with our coverage, but even more tight with our protection behind the ball as far as our rotations or not leaving shooters or kind of being in and out and being able to read our teammates. And that's something that takes time. I mean, I work for Steve Clifford, and he's one of the best defensive coaches in the league. And we spent hours and hours and hours and hours of practice on all of those things, and we're kind of doing that stuff on the fly. And it's not just me. There's a lot of teams doing it on the fly, but we haven't been together for very long.
We'll take 3 more. Brian Beerfield.
Coach, can you just talk about how hard it is to prepare for a team like the Toronto Raptors, who have championship pedigree, but also has that 1-2 punch of Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet?
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, those guards are so hard to guard. They both push the pace. They both can pull up in transition. They both play pick and roll. They put so much pressure on your defense. And like you said, the championship pedigree is a thing. It's not just a kind of concept. It's real. And the confidence that comes along with that, the experience that they've had going through the ups and downs and the highs and lows of moments, and not getting rattled and knowing where each other is going to be on the floor all the time and stuff. That's like real stuff. So preparing for them is difficult, especially on a back-to-back. But you know, our group is up for the challenge, and I talked to them today about the roller coaster of emotions when it comes to preparing and getting ready for a game and really feeling like you're prepared to play, and then the disappointment of a loss, and then rearing up to prepare again like we're doing tonight, and making sure that we're, as a group, lifting each other up to get to that top of that hill. And it's a difficult thing, but we're doing it.
Jonathan Fagan.
I just wanted to check, Kevin Porter Jr. and DJ Augustin available to you tonight?
Kevin Porter Jr. is out. DJ Augustin is in.
Thank you.
And last question, Kaylee Griffin.
Coach, kind of going off of that, I know you went a little off script yesterday and did not keep Christian or John on a minutes restriction. Will there be any restriction on them today?
Yes, there will be more restriction. I've been told that I did go off script, and I was not that I wasn't supposed to. They recovered fine from it, but yeah, that's an astute observation. And
I was
tonight,
told at halftime. Coach Hornacek told me at halftime that you guys were going to do that. So
yeah, I'm not gonna have those guys out there 38 minutes, but 34, 35, 36, something like that.
did they respond well though? Are they
Yeah,
interested
yeah,
in soreness?
they responded well. They came in for treatment this morning. They were both a little sore, which is to be expected, but both are ready to play tonight. So that kind of tells you where they're at.
Thank you, Coach.